welcome to Splice Splatter, the film podcast presented by the Jean Cocteau Cinema in the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're classic horror.
It's Modern Gore. We're your hosts. I'm Al.
I'm Siena.
And thank you for coming to our first ever live show.
We are so fucking terrified right now. Can you tell?
Oh my God, lovely. Keep doing that.
Please laugh.
Thank you.
Yes. We need it. We thrive off the applause. Yes.
It keeps the screams from coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for coming to our first live show. As you all know, we are here to see The Crow tonight. So round of applause for that. How many of you have seen The Crow before? I can't see you, so I'm going to have you caw. Who's seen it? Caw.
Oh.
That was kind of a caw.
That feels like... That feels like about half and half. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Well, I will say all of our fun facts are spoiler free. So if this is in fact your first time crowing,
you don't have to worry about anything.
Yes.
So a little bit about us, if you don't know about us already. So Splice Splatter is a film horror podcast. So me and Siena every other week come together and pick a film. So we each pick a film per episode. And we do lots and lots and lots of research.
So much
combing
research
through the internet to find all the juicy behind the scenes making of facts. Obviously our opinions are in there a little bit because we can't help it. But both of us are filmmakers. We went to film school. And so we kind of come together to nerd out about films. The Crow was our 50th episode and we paired it with The Birds.
The birds are back in town, baby.
Yeah. So that episode will be releasing on Monday. So the facts that you're going to hear tonight are not facts you're going to hear on the podcast.
They're entirely separate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Siena tortured me. So a week ago is when we filmed it. And as Siena was going through their notes, I obviously hear things for the first time as we're going to hear things together for the first time. And they saved all these things. So we will hear these together.
Yes.
And then I don't know too, I want to give a shout out to the Crow's Nest, who was outside.
Yeah, we love
obviously
Rose.
It was very fitting to have Rose here.
Rose and the Crows.
And we got our graphic novels from Beastly Books. So I think that tees us up.
It does. Thank you, Al, for teeing me up.
You're so welcome. Definitely not rehearsed.
I wanted to start us off with a couple of facts about the graphic novel / about James O'Barr, who wrote the graphic novel, because I think it's pretty well known at this point. I'm not sure if you knew this, actually.
I actually did not know this was based off a graphic novel.
Oh my gosh.
Does anyone else know that this wasn't based off a graphic novel, or am I alone?
Okay, good.
I'm alone.
We've got
that.
some cause.
Thank you all
Great.
for the support. Remember we talked about earlier to please cheer?
Yes.
Yeah, I did not know at the time. This was a film that I'd watched in college and was obsessed with.
And you didn't know about James O'Barr's personal history that he put into this, right?
I did not.
Do you want to give a little shout out to that?
I am blanking.
Fantastic. I'll give a little shout out to that.
Why don't you do that?
Funny that I should tee myself up like that. So one of the things that James O'Barr drew on when writing the graphic novel was that he himself had. Do you want to shout it out? Fantastic. So James O'Barr, when he was only 18, lost his own fiance in a car crash, and he joined the Marines because of that and started working on the graphic novel while he was in the Marines. But what I did not tell you, Al, is that he was inspired by one other true crime story I saved for us tonight. Because as you all will find out, if this is your first time watching, rings are very important in this film. And one of the things that James O'Barr had heard at the time that he was working on The Crow but hadn't finished kind of outlining the comic yet, he grew up in a Detroit orphanage.
Shout out Detroit. That's where I'm from.
Shout out Detroit. And put a pin, though, in the location of this film, because while it takes place in Detroit, it was not filmed there, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But O'Barr had been listening to a true crime story that I believe it happened in Detroit around that time, about a couple who had been killed over a dispute around a $30 engagement ring. And so that's $30. A $30 engagement ring.
When? What year?
It was in the late 80s.
What's the inflation? Like $5,000 now?
Do you want me to calculate this live for
please.
us now? Perfect. And I actually brought in a quote from him. He said, quote, "I thought it was outlandish, a $30 ring and 2 lives wasted. That became the beginning of the focal point, and the idea that there could be a love so strong that it could transcend death, that it could refuse death, and the soul would not rest until it could set things right."
Oh, man.
Yeah. So this story comes from
Starting
a
off real
lot
strong.
of personal history. But to lighten us up a little bit, I will say that James O'Barr appears on screen himself. You're about to see him. Keep an eye out in the Gideon's pawn shop scene for a guy in the background stealing a TV. That is comic writer James O'Barr. There's also a second appearance from a screenwriter, David Shaw, who co-wrote the screenplay. During the boardroom shootout scene, he's one of the first 3 to die. That's a little bit harder to spot.
Oh, wait. Never mind. Not on this film.
Don't say that. Yeah.
Take that out. You can edit this one.
Cut that. This is live. We can do that, right?
Fuck, guys. Listen, if you couldn't tell I was nervous, now you can.
Now you know. So now we get to pull that pin out of the location, because this film, I just told us, takes place sort of in Detroit. It all takes place on Devil's Night, which is a Detroit tradition. However, this was not shot in Detroit. I told you, this was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, of all places. But do you know why?
Tax write-offs?
Nope. It's a good guess. Does anybody know why this was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina? Any?
I mean,
that's a great guess.
Really great guess.
That is a really good guess. However, almost all of the rain on this film is in studio. Almost all of this rain is rain machine rain. The reason they shot in Wilmington, North Carolina is because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Fuck, this is where that comes
into play.
Ninja Turtles.
So, the abandoned cement factory where this film mainly shoots had been used on the production of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just a couple of months beforehand. Director of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Steve Barron, mentions that Carol Co. was looking to rebuild their studio for a film because there'd just been a hurricane in the area. And the director of The Crow was like, oh, we need a cityscape that's like destroyed and ruined, just destroyed by a hurricane. That sounds perfect to me. Yikes. However, let me also just shout out, there's one other 90s classic that was shot at this studio that's kind of in the vein of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do you want to throw out a guess for me? Guess? That's a really good guess.
I would say I have this thing about films like this in the 90s had a wet look about them.
They did have a wet look. We love a wet look in a movie.
The 90s loved a wet look on a film in a city. And so I'm trying to
As
think
do
of,
we.
Power Rangers isn't wet enough.
So true. Too dry. Too dry. It is, however, it's based on a game. I'll give you that.
I did not. I played.
No, it was.
It's
somebody just said it. It's Dino Hatton in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Is the same location. Yeah. Look at that.
Was that a wet movie?
Is that wet enough to be shot in North Carolina, do we think? Weigh in. Wet in.
Oh, lovely.
Just what we're looking for.
Wet and moldy.
Wet and moldy. Yeah. So are we ready to talk a little bit about stunt doubles?
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that?
Yeah.
Because I saved this to talk about live. I'm sure if y'all want to hear about the tragedy that happened on this film, we go into that in much more detail on the podcast. We're not going to talk about that here. But what I did want to bring in, because I think it's fun to know right before watching the movie, is a little bit of info about which scenes were shot with stunt doubles rather than with Brandon Lee, so that you have a sense of how to spot them, which scenes they are, and how they did it. And then I'm going to wrap up by telling you who his stunt double was.
Oh, shit.
Because it blew my mind out.
Dang.
Yeah.
If anyone knows, keep it zipped until the end.
Don't tell Al. Does anybody here know?
Idea. Does anyone,
You know? You didn't even watch the movie yet. How do you know? For those who don't know, we have our resident bird expert, Devin, in the house here.
You'll hear the shout out in the episode on Monday.
Yeah. So
let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
I gotta go home and watch this after now.
Yeah. So I will say the number of shots that used stunt doubles and then early CGI to replace the faces is actually really small, much smaller than I had expected when I first started researching this film. It's only 52 shots across 7 scenes, which may sound like a lot. My own movie, which has very few special effects, the person who's doing the special effects is sitting in the front row right now. She's my partner. Has like what, 150?
Dang.
160-ish, and that's a movie that has like no special effects, so only 50 something shots, 52 shots, the number of a deck of cards get replaced. So it's really few. A lot of what they did after Brandon's death was changing the script rather than replacing, but the ones where that does happen are almost all in the first 15 minutes, first 10 to 15 minutes, because it was mainly stuff that was going to be exposition of the character.
And is that what they saved that for last?
They'd saved that for last, because there were only going to be 3 more days of shooting at the time that Brandon died. So what was supposed to be shot during that time was mainly scenes in flashback of Brandon's character with his fiancée Shelley. And so instead, most of those scenes get cut. But then when you see Eric Draven come back to life on screen for the first time, and this is not spoiling anything, I promise, as he wakes up and then makes his way back to the apartment, when he first comes into the apartment, that is not Brandon Lee.
Oh, wow.
And most of that scene, the scene that follows as Eric Draven kind of goes through his transformation, that's how I'm going to put it for now, is done post Brandon's death. This was handled by special effects house Dream Quest Images, which I was interested in because it's not a house that I had heard of.
I was going to say, normally when we talk about these films, we talk a lot about
ILM.
We see a lot of repeats on
things, it's
so.
Usually the same folks who are doing this over and over again. And this is one of the first instances of this kind of digital face replacement technology being used.
I would say also, too, something to note for the Monday episode, Siena kind of goes into detail talking about how it was a lot of people's firsts as crew members that go on to some of the most wildly well-known and successful films you've ever heard of, and this was their first time kind of in these roles. So I'm not surprised to hear.
Oh, Al, you are teeing me up so well for who Brandon's stunt double is, because again, insane. That's why I saved the best for last. But so that scene as Brandon walks in through the door, what they did was they had Brandon's stunt double, who we're going to talk about in a second, shoot the actual motion of walking in through the door, and they matte composited that using the background of the door with, they added in digitally a few raindrops, because you'll see Brandon's face has rain on it. The reason why is that his face is taken from an exterior scene where he's being drenched in rain. And so in order to make that scene fit with the interior, they had the interior of this door, which is in an apartment building. It doesn't make sense for there to be rain dripping off the door, but it sells in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not Brandon.
Wow.
And so as you watch that sequence, look for shots that are shot in wide, where you're seeing Brandon for just a few seconds. Those are most of the ones where he's replaced.
That makes sense.
There's one very visible one as he falls. That's not Brandon. That's his face being replaced. But the single shot that I was the most stunned by, that I was geeking out to Travis about while you were plugging your ears yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't want to hear any spoilers, guys, so we're all hearing this for the first time, unless you know.
Again, this is not a spoiler. It happens in the first 10 minutes. Brandon looks in a broken mirror as he's putting on his makeup. That's not Brandon!
Oh, man. That shot's so good.
It's incredible.
That's really when you're like, the crow.
Yeah. So what they did.
Is that what you look like in the crow? That's what I think.
Can everybody do that with us for a second? 1, 2, 3. The crow. There we go. Thank you all for indulging me.
Is that what you did in the mirror today? You just broke it.
That's how
this looks great.
The crow. So.
Dang.
Dana can confirm. So how they shot that, they had a stunt double standing in, looking in the mirror, which is what would happen anyway for a shot like that, where you need to have the person in the reflection if you're doing a trick shot like this. So they have that person standing there, and then they had a stunt double reflected in the mirror so that they could get the placement right. And then they painstakingly took pieces of Brandon's face from other shots and composited those onto an actual broken mirror. I cannot tell you how long that would take and how hard that is.
But it's good.
It's incredible.
It's great.
So it's a very quick shot. Watch out for it carefully. Again, it happens in those first 10 minutes. You'll see there's like a shot of Brandon reaching for a marionette mask, which is why the makeup looks like this. That's what the look was inspired by. When James O'Barr was writing the comics, he saw this London marionette mask that he loved the kind of painted on smile of. So you'll see Brandon reach for one of those, and then he looks in this broken mirror. It only lasts about 3 seconds. I had to go back and pause on it. It is some of the best CGI work I have ever goddamn seen. Yeah.
It's crazy. So just pick a piece of the face to stare at in those 3 seconds.
And look at it. Yeah. It is immaculate.
Divvy it up if you came here with someone. Someone look at the nose, someone look at the eyes, decide now.
Okay, now
the stunt double?
I get to tell you who the stunt double is.
I'm dying. I really hope the name registers.
I'm afraid it won't, but what he's done will.
Okay, perfect.
It might actually, though. Now I'm not sure, because he is very famous. The things he's done are very famous.
Al Pacino is what we know.
It's not Al Pacino.
Okay.
If
for those that
do you
don't
all
know,
get that? Who here knows Al Pacino lore?
I'm
Call for Al Pacino.
Yeah. I'm going to give you, for those that don't know, I'm going to give you one little tidbit. We found out while doing an interview with a vampire that Al Pacino got so far in the process to be Lestat that they did mock-ups of his makeup, and I want t-shirts of it. And now we've learned that this man really wants to be a horror king.
He comes up over and over again in horror
So that is
history.
our joke, but it's not a joke anymore.
It's not a joke anymore. It becomes all the more real.
At least we know he's not a stuntman.
It's true. Who knows?
We'll hear.
That was actually the stuntman, was Al Pacino the whole time.
His first job.
In 1994, yes. Al Pacino did absolutely nothing before that year. So, his stunt double, famous in the world of action blockbusters. This is why Travis had the reaction he did. I'm going to just headbutt into the microphone here for a second. His name is Chad Stahelski. Does that ring a bell for anybody in the audience? Some people are we've got some birds stirring out here. Chad Stahelski, the first thing that he kind of really broke out for was being the main stunt double for Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. He then, because he does so well as Keanu's stunt double in The Matrix, goes on to actually have a role named Chad in is it The Matrix Resurrections? Yes, The Matrix Resurrections. That's Chad playing Chad. However, the thing Chad Stahelski is known for is neither The Matrix nor The Matrix Resurrections.
I have not seen those. So.
It's that he is the person who directed every single John Wick film.
Whoa. And he was the stunt man?
Yes. That's who's standing in.
Applause.
Take a second.
How do you start as like a stunt man?
Not just a stunt man. That's who's standing in for Brandon when he walks in.
Wow.
He did both on this film. I believe he was probably hired to do stunts, and then once this tragic accident happened, the stunt people also step in to do more standing
Again,
work.
If that gives you any teaser to all, I mean, it's almost every single person on this crew has done some of the most big films you've ever heard of. So
has had the most incredible careers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's Chad Stahelski. And I believe, according to my research, that scene that I just told you about at the beginning where the doorway is dripping even though it's inside, that's actually Chad Stahelski walking out. That's who's doubling for him in that shot. Quite likely it's also Chad in the mirror for that little scene.
Man.
Yeah.
Way to go, Chad.
Way to go, Chad. We love a Chad success story.
You go, Chad.
Do
Chad? No, I'm just kidding.
Do we love a Chad success story? Do we love a Chad failure story? Is that better? That's better. We've got acceptance for Chad failure story. So those are my 5 fun facts that I've brought in for you. Is there anything else that we talked about from The Crow that you feel like people need to know? People need to crow before going in.
I'm going to say one of the things we kicked off, we kind of do like tidbits in the beginning.
We love a tidbit. Love a tid, love a bit.
Is for a film called The Crow. They're ravens. His last name's Draven. Why couldn't it have been the Raven? I don't know. I guess Edgar Allan Poe had his thing.
Thank you for mentioning this, because that's why I chose this crowl, this crow cowl, is as a nod to the ravens in this film. We have 5 raven actors. There's nary a single crow in this movie.
So you can't spot those anywhere.
You can't spot a crow. And thanks to Devin for explaining a little bit to me about why you might choose ravens.
Yeah.
It's actually partially because ravens are more solitary creatures. And so therefore, potentially a little bit easier to train to do things like flying alone through a rain machine in the dark, because this entire movie shot at night when crows are asleep to land on Brandon Lee's shoulder. Crolder?
Crolder?
That's my cue.
Listen. The only other one I would say is we had a TikTok go out today about it, but the fact that Brandon slept in his makeup to make it more worn. And then when he was getting his makeup done, he would play his little Game Boy, and I just thought that was a really wholesome image.
This incredible story from the makeup artist. I remember his last name is Anderson, and now I'm forgetting what his first name is, but makeup artist Anderson says that Brandon, a lot of the time, because he would be playing his Game Boy as the makeup application would be going on, if he would get to a really hard part in the game, all of a sudden the makeup would have to get redone because he'd be painting these delicate lines on his face, and then Brandon would be like, "Oh no!" And so the entire crow is going all the way up the side of his face.
Yeah. So those were my favorite. But we talked for an hour and a half
about the crow. I think that was my longest segment yet.
It was, it's beefy. So if you guys enjoyed hearing the things you did, we say we're screaming everywhere you listen to podcasts, literally everywhere. And we also, if you want to see our insane faces and sometimes the makeup that we wear when we dress on theme, we are on YouTube as well. So you can find us everywhere, Splice and Splatter. But I don't want to keep anyone too much longer. I just want to say thank you to the Jean Cocteau for letting us hold the mics instead of being on the other side taking pictures of people doing this. So thank you to everyone. Tip bartenders, get the cocktails. They're keeping us going right now.
Crow tails.
And enjoy. Again,
are you all
if
sick
you
of
haven't
me yet?
listened to the podcast, there's a lot of that. Puns are our thing.
Pun would be a loose term for what I'm doing on air.
There was a lot of bird talk happening.
There's a lot of bird talk.
Happened. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for listening to us. We're actually have our next live show planned. We're going to be doing
do we get to announce it live?
Announce it.
Yes.
I don't know if we get to, but I'm going
Drum roll,
to.
please.
We are doing
Drum crow.
The original Halloween on October 30th.
Devil's Night for those who are about
Devil's
to watch.
Night. So speaking of, we're also doing event before that in early October. We're going to play Pet Cemetery. Okay. See, this is why we stop. We will be playing Pet Cemetery, and we will be working with the Santa Fe Animal Shelter to have adoption event beforehand, or you can just come play with puppies because it really is the love of animals that is that movie.
Yes.
It's a heart and soul.
Which I still haven't seen. I'm excited for that
So
one.
if you haven't seen it, I'm excited to see that on the big screen. But we won't blab any longer.
Can I just wish us a happy 50 episodes?
Oh yeah, it was our birthday, guys.
It was our birthday.
Thank you, actually, for doing that. We've covered 101 films in 2 years without skipping a beat. And if you guys want to come hang with us again, we're going to be at Morgan Crypt at end of September in Albuquerque. So we'll be doing a live show there. We're going to do a panel there, and we will have lots of good merch. And there's so many good horror guests there.
Can I announce the merch that we just designed? Because I'm so proud of it. Okay.
I don't know how many of you will enjoy this merch, but
I will
excited.
be enjoying it. We are making baby tees that say in Bratz font, gore horror.
So that's a teaser. I know all of you want one.
It's going to be my new favorite shirt.
Everyone, you get a baby tee.
You get a baby tee. Everyone gets a baby tee.
But yeah, thank you guys. Enjoy the crow, the show, the crow.
The live crow.
And until then, we're going to do a costume contest right after this, but we're going to...
We'll be right back.